Yeah, I think Mike Bubb said this too. He's also a dear brother. He said, Tony was kind of an elusive character. And so I have met him a few times and actually worked with him a few times through the Jerry Douglas thing. But I didn't know him well. He was another one of those guys where, man, you got a minute to be in a room with that guy. Just, let him do the talking and just enjoy the moment, right? Because, that to me, and a lot of us here in Nashville, that, Tony Rice was like, he might as well be or a lot of people's like Keith Richards it's that level of respect and admiration, and like these are like superheroes to us, and so listening to those records as a kid and then being in a room with a person like that is surreal, not to mention getting to actually make music with somebody like that, and so when I met him, he was just really nice and quiet, and always wore a suit, always drove a high-powered Ford Mustang or Lightning Ford pickup truck to the gig, never flew on an airplane. Those are a few things I knew about him. Loved to make watches and repair watches, and really he was like the bluegrass guy. If you didn't really do the deep dive on Tony Rice, you think of bluegrass. And some of those records are the greatest bluegrass. If anybody, I'm a lucky guy in Nashville because I can kind of navigate my way and have developed relationships in the bluegrass community, the jazz community, the session guys, the rock guys. I kind of like, my playing is not a chameleon, but my personal life kind of is with all these different people. And I love all this music is what it is. But if you don't do the deep dive on Tony Rice, so my point of that is if I meet guys in the jazz world and they haven't really talked about bluegrass much, I go, well, you need to go check out these 2 or 3 records. So Tony Rice sings and plays bluegrass, and there's a few other ones. But that's the Bluegrass Album Band, and there's a few other ones. But he was a guy that was like, I consider him more, his persona to me was more of a jazz cat. He was like a jazz cat. With the way that he dressed and he presented himself, and the music that he loved. He was definitely pushing the boundaries of what we consider flat-picking bluegrass guitar. All the Gordon Lightfoot stuff and the just amazing singing that he did, and accompanying himself on the guitar with the amazing cross-picking and the chordal knowledge and the whole thing. To me, it was like, I almost don't even think bluegrass first when I think of Tony Rice. I think of this like almost like it's like you're talking about Miles Davis or something, He's like a jazz cat, in every great sense of that word for me, Yeah. I'm not exactly sure the last time I was around him. It might have been at a festival and I was just there. The last time that I was really around him was, we did a 4-night residency at the Country Music Hall of Fame with Jerry Douglas, where we backed up a lot of people in those 4 nights. Everybody from Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood to Earl Scruggs and Tony Rice and Alison Krauss and Ricky Skaggs, and we got to play with a lot of people in that 4 days as Jerry's young band, me and Todd Parks and Doug Willode on drums, and a great New Orleans drummer. And I can't remember who was on fiddle, either Luke Bulla or Gabe Witcher or Alex Hargraves or one of these guys. Alex Hargraves actually now plays with Billy Strings. You've probably seen him out there. But we backed up a lot of people on this night. And so Tony Rice came out and did a version of Shadows with Alison Krauss. And we got to play those songs together because we were basically we were Jerry Douglas's band. And so we were like that backing band for all these people. And so all these people would come and go, and I played mandolin on a couple tunes, I think with Allison, and played guitar on most of the stuff, all acoustic, no electric with him at that point. But Dolly Parton, I think, was even there. I can't remember. It was a lot. It was a lot of people. We added a lot of names to our list on that week. But Jerry was a whole other trip because I'd gotten to know Sam Bush from when I was a little kid because my dad promoted Newgrass Revival to the Gulf Coast twice in the mid-'80s because nobody else was going to do that down there. My parents were the only people listening to Newgrass Revival, probably within a 500-mile radius. And so I got to see Newgrass Revival when I was about 6 or 7 years old. So knew Sam, and then Sam saw our band play at a festival one time. We opened up for them, and he knew I'd moved to Nashville. And fast forward years and years, and then he gave my number to Jerry. And Jerry called. I was at Todd Sharp's amp shop down here in Franklin. Again, probably in between gigs with Patty and trying to figure out some amp thing or a speaker and hanging with Todd and all the guys down there. And my phone rings, and I'm the opposite of everybody else. I answer the phone when I don't recognize the number because I figure it's some new person that's going to call me for a gig. That was back then anyway. And so I pick up the phone and I said, hello. And he said, hey, is this Guthrie? I said, yeah. He goes, hey, man, this is Jerry Douglas. And I went, what? And so another Godzilla-like superhero character to any kids my age that played bluegrass at all. Back then, it was Bela Fleck, Jerry Douglas, Sam Bush, Mark O'Connor. I mean, those were the guys, right? Strength in Numbers and Edgar Meyer and the whole crew. And we looked up to those guys like literally like they were superheroes. We dreamt about playing with these guys and idolized them big time. And so Jerry calls and he goes, man, would you be interested in playing some guitar with me? And I went, well, yeah, absolutely. So he goes, all right, well, let's meet and I'll get you some songs and we'll do a little rehearsal at my house and blah, blah, blah. So that turned into a 6 or 7 year adventure. Played on a bunch of his records and toured all over the place with him, including a bunch of trips over to Europe and Ireland a lot and all over the United States. And then we opened up for Paul Simon for 3 months in the middle of that whole thing in like 2006 or 7. Oh, my God, it was a lifetime ago. How did I do that?